Got it. Okay. I would like to call the January 12th, 2022 meeting of the Board of Water Commissioners to order. Present are all three water commissioners, Tom Hoppenstead, Scott Horsley, and Mark Robinson, along with Office Manager Jennifer Nash and Superintendent Chris Wiseman. And we have three guests along as well, three members of the public, which is great. One of which is one of our employees, Mr. Dwyer. Welcome all. So our agenda tonight starts with public comment. Is there any initial public comment? We will take comment throughout the meeting if you want to hold your comments until later on when we get to a particular item. But if you'd like to comment now, we'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. I think if you are commenting, you're going to have to use the chat feature or unmute yourself so that we can hear you. I see names, that's all.
Yeah. Chat only is for when we're doing the hybrid meeting at Freedom Hall, but because we're 100% Zoom, everybody can chime in if they need.
Zoom. All right. So Natalie, Jennifer, if you have anything to say, you want to chime in, just raise your hand or unmute yourself. We'll see. I'll see that. We'll take some comments. Commissioners Robinson and Horsley, we have on our agenda tonight the source water protection presentation as the first item.
So that was actually a carryover from last agenda. Nothing new to present other than discussion before we post those documents to the webpage.
Yeah, and I do have some items to take up. I notice that it's on the agenda later as well, so we can do it now or do it later, whatever your preference is, Mr. Chairman.
Whatever works best for you, Scott.
Well, we can talk briefly now if that's okay. There were a couple of, I think I did, as Jen said, I did send her the final report, and that'll be posted. And I believe I provided the slideshow as well from the students. There are a couple of follow-up items that I wanted to discuss with the board. One is to follow up on a little bit more of a look at the landscaping company behind the Lou Jeans area that we discussed last time. And I did speak with Tom Cambereri to see if he might be interested in putting in a well and just doing some testing there. And he's indicated he might be. So I don't know if we wanted to take that up. I don't know the exact cost, but I hate to throw out numbers, but I would guess this would be in the, I don't know, couple $3,000 range. Maybe Chris has a better idea to get Desmond out there to put a monitoring well and take some samples. But I thought that was one thing we should consider based upon the discussion we had last time. And then the second item is just to begin a discussion, I think. And I think, Mr. Chairman, you had mentioned at the last meeting about our upcoming budget considerations. And I thought we could at least talk about the possibility of some of the septic system upgrades as a discussion item. But I don't know how far we want to go into either of those tonight, but I would defer to the other commissioners.
Commissioner Robinson.
Thank you. I'm not opposed to the idea of a well behind the landscape company, but I think it's worth just exploring with them first. Maybe we could invite them, whoever's the owner there now, to come in and just tell us what's been going on and what kind of things are there and what's the history that he knows. I know Chris and you, Tom, both have some history with that area, but I think we could have a friendly chat with him just to, if nothing more, let him know that we are concerned because it's so close to the well field.
I did stop by there and ask what was going on, took a ride behind there. And basically what they're doing is running a wood business out of there. That's all oak, and they're cutting and splitting wood to sell and stacking it out back there to sell, to age. And that's all they're doing right now back there.
But what about previously? I mean, how long have they owned it versus the previous owners?
Yeah, it's rented every year. It would have to be Mike Lally, who we talked to. He would be the guy to talk to see previous years what was there and everything else. He could give us a little more of a history on it.
Is that Save a Tree that's there now still?
No, they're gone. I
They're
believe
gone.
they're out of there. This is a independent guy that's back there and using it to store. If you drive back there now, there's about a 20-foot high pile of oak split, ready to be sold. So
Yeah.
they're bringing it in, splitting it, throwing it back there and bringing it right down to people's houses, basically.
Okay.
So,
Is
so
that-
is he the owner operator or just a lessee?
He's a lessee, the guy that has the business. The owner is Mike Lally. He owns that whole property, the building out front, both buildings out, Blue Jean Printing. Basically, he owns that whole section from the parking lot back to Mariner Circle.
Yeah, so he's rented it out for various landscape companies over the years.
Over the years, yes.
So would he, would it, I know we use him as a vendor. Would it be appropriate to just ask him to speak with us at our next meeting and tell us a little bit more about what he has seen back there?
Yeah,
Why
I could ask.
why don't I stop by there and talk to him
Okay.
and see if he wants to do that, or if he wants to do a little, I don't know if at the next meeting, if he's got time to put stuff together. I know he goes south this time of year for some weeks at a time. And so I want to, let me talk with him and then we'll see. But I think that's a good idea, Mark. We should.
Well, I mean, we could also just, what kind of things have been there? I mean, I'm not worried about oak being stored there, but other kinds of, compost or debris or, in other words, it might be good if we put a well in to know what kind of things we might be expected to find based on what was stored there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, my only thought was it could be a nitrogen source. So once I believe that's one of the wells that showed the elevated nitrogen levels. So, it'd be nice to get a fix on how big of a source that might be. I did do a little bit of looking in the literature about, stump dumps and things of that nature, and really couldn't find a lot. I did speak with Tom, and I think he suggested also could get some tannin and lignins and other components that might be in there. That it just struck me as something that, since we identified it in the look at the contributing areas, we look at into a little closer. But I think the idea, Tom, of you stopping by and having a discussion first makes a lot of sense.
The other thing is, do we have access to the drill site without having to cut down a lot of trees to get there?
Well, I didn't see, I forget which road that is, Chris, on the south side of it, but I did drive and.
Yeah, Mariner Circle's there.
Is that do we know if that's a town road or private? I haven't looked it
I
up,
believe it's private. They have their own little association, I think, over there.
but it looks like Mark, it looked like to me, we could put a well in the road layout without, it looked like to me like the access for a well would be pretty easy, as long as if it is a private road, we need permission from the homeowners association, I guess. But in terms of access, it looked like it was pretty simple to me to get a well on the down gradient side, but that's something Tom could determine if we want him to, I guess one question is, do we want him to prepare a proposal to do the well, or is it premature?
I think at this point it's a little premature because we got to get into the budget.
Okay.
And I see that, I've got to do a budget presentation to the Prudential Committee at their, it's either late January, well, might be not this coming week, but the week after, it might be the next week.
24th,
24th, 23rd. So it's next week.
I think, is that Monday?
Yeah. And I was looking at your update here, and I'm not sure that we have a lot more money to spend out of those lines. I might be looking at the wrong things.
Tom, if that's the case, if you have an upcoming budget meeting, would it make sense to put in a placeholder for a couple of these items? We can always not spend it, right?
Right.
So maybe in this case, we round up and say 5 to 10K between Tom's efforts. I think it's going to be less than 5K, would be my quick guess, but who knows? But if you want, maybe as a placeholder after you or Chris talk with them, if we do decide to put a well, and it'd be nice to either know that we've got the operating budget or we request it in the next go round.
Right. I mean, it would come out of engineering, Chris?
It would have to, yeah.
Which is, it's got 43,000 as a balance. But we'd want to see what other things you have planned for that money. And
I'm kind of using that as a cushion right now. We've had quite a lot of leaks and stuff this
Yeah.
year. If you look at the other parts of that budget, we're quite over in a couple.
Yeah,
And I just had another 4 hours added today, it looks like.
so the
Yeah.
water mains thing is we're 14,000 in arrears there, so.
Yeah.
And I don't see this as a rush item by any means. I mean, it's been there for a long time. I just think it's something we should keep in our sights.
So
Agreed.
I'm looking at Google Maps. I see Eugene Printing. I see Mariner Circle. I don't see something called Meredith. But anyway, Mariner Circle comes up to the rear.
You want to share the screen, Mark? And you can also see the big pile of wood there on the aerial if you're up to you.
Well, sure, if somebody will let me.
Let's see, screen share. Okay, what do I have to do? I have to give you control, right? Let's see.
No, not yet.
I'm
The
getting
other
there.
thing you can
Okay.
do, Jen, is just
Okay.
pull it up on your side. He's just looking at Google Maps.
Should be able to make you a make host. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, so you see that?
It's starting.
Yes.
There we go.
Yep,
So if this is Eugene here, and that's the laydown yard there,
right, right.
here's Mariner Circle.
Yep.
And
That's
the well field's way down here. So we're not putting a well in the well field. We're
No,
talking
no,
about
no.
putting a well in the layout of Mariner Circle.
Right right where you have your cursor is what I was thinking,
Yeah.
Mark. Right there next to the, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a fence, yeah, there's a fence there
Yep.
that they have. You could probably see it if you did the road view. I don't know.
Yeah, drag your little man in there.
Yeah, right there.
Mm.
Um,
Can you drag your little guy in there so you can look off the road, like Chris was saying?
oh, I don't know how to do that.
See the little guy in the bottom right of your picture? Just grab him and hold your cursor down. Keep on the right, a little more right. Little guy, a little stick figure.
It says explore.
Oh, okay.
We can teach you something here, Commissioner. No,
Yeah.
hold it down and drag him. Don't let it up yet. Drag the little man.
Try. Oops.
Oh, there you go. You
Yeah.
did it. You did it. That's it. That's the spot, I think.
That's in between.
That's
the
it right there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like there's a little layout of the road that you
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
use.
Right there
Um,
is what I was thinking.
I guess, yeah, I mean, it's not our property, so we'd need permission,
Yep.
some kind of release of liability and insurance, who knows what, but, yeah. I don't know. Okay. I just let Jim, JR,
Oh, good. Thank you. I was just going to say, he just texted me to say he was logging in.
please take control back from me, Jen.
Okay. Let's see.
All right, we'll do a little follow-up on that. I'll talk with Michael
Okay.
and see what he can provide for a history of the land management on that site. You know, he might have old leases and such that could give us some information. I'll just
Yeah.
I'll see what he's got. We'll explore that a little bit, and like you say, keep it in our
Both sites,
site.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tom, if I may, while we still have this agenda item, I see that Jennifer is here from the Barnstable Clean Water Coalition. And I had reached out to her just so we can maybe just spend a minute on the second item that I suggested, which is the septic upgrades.
So
Talk
that's
about that for a
something
minute.
that's in our 5-year capital plan.
Okay.
Capital
So you
improvement
already
plan.
put it in
So-
there?
Well, yeah, I think we're still working on that, but we had innovative septic solutions as a line item. So that's
Okay,
something that I
okay.
think would be appropriate for us to start putting our sights onto. And I think that, source remediation is the way to go rather than treatment. But
Maybe we could ask if,
Jennifer's thoughts on how
yeah,
they're
if we could ask Jennifer just to say a couple words, because I know she's been working hard over at the Schubel's Pond site, and I appreciate her attending to the meeting tonight.
Yeah, thanks.
Jennifer?
Scott. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
this stuff is great, right?
exactly, Tom. Yeah. So yeah, thanks to Scott for keeping our group up to date about what your analysis is showing. So what we got excited about is if there's an opportunity to put some of these systems in that area behind Lou Jean's and that section of Katuitt. I know we'd be glad to help facilitate that process. I'm not here to suggest we can provide funding, but I know if it's going to help us get to our end goal of getting closer to 50 of these IA systems so we can tip over from provisional status into general use with the Clean 2 Nitro system, that would be very helpful. So the role that Scott's become familiar that I've been playing is kind of like a general contractor in getting the installations done over at Schubel Pond. We have 8 systems installed over there right now, and we've got 4 to 6 that are scheduled for late April. So we're kind of on break right now, only because of the weather. And I think it'd be really appropriate for you folks to come in, see one of the installations and take one of our tours, because we've had over 50 people come and tour and see what we're doing and what the installations are all about. So unless you have questions, I'm just really interested to hear more how we could help with the process.
I can't
Excellent.
remember what
Thank you.
number we put in the budget, Tom, but I think I gave you a rough estimate per
We haven't, but we have the 22,000 per.
average. Does that sound about right, Jennifer? The out-of-pocket cost, about 22 grand?
Well, yeah, it depends. I think if we could find some households that would be what we call retrofits, that would be the most economical. So a retrofit is they have a Title V system and a leach field that's still functioning. And we could just retrofit a nitro system in between. That's going to be your most cost effective. On the flip side, if we've got cesspools sitting over there, or we got failed systems, and that's the right corrective thing to do is to get those out of there and put nitros in, then we're talking about more money. So the retrofits are going to be around, let's say, for budgetary purposes, let's say 20,000. And then I'm going to be on the high side for the what we call full replacements. Let's call that 30,000. And then and I'm sure you folks are familiar with this, if a homeowner has a failed Title V, there is a loan program available that they could borrow. So if you needed to say to these folks, we can fund a certain amount through your budget, but you got to come up with some. So on a failed side, there's money available for them to borrow. I think it's at 5% right now to over 20 years.
Okay.
That development went in the 80s, I believe, and I'm not sure when Title V started.
It wasn't at the mid 80s.
Well, 78 was the original Title V, and then 95 was the upgrade. But my guess is if it was 80s, probably is a leach field, but I'm not sure. We could check with the Board of Health. They would have the records.
Yeah. I mean, if I would be glad to just go look at a sample of homes that are there and just go into their records and find some.
You mean over at the Health Department, Jennifer?
I could just go to the Assessor's Division and it'll
Yeah,
tell me,
that would
it'll
be
tell me
great.
right there. So, I'd be glad to do that because I'm just curious myself.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you.
So I don't think, I'll just keep watching your agendas, and if it's appropriate for me to pop on another meeting, I'd be glad to do it. But Scott attends our weekly meetings, so he can also pull me in at the right time.
Yeah, Jennifer, I can keep you informed. I mean, you're welcome to attend anytime. We have very exciting discussions. But if you'd rather have me just contact you, I certainly can do that. And the vote on our budget would be sometime in the summer, correct, Tom?
Okay.
That's the district vote, yeah.
District
So-
vote.
So we
Yeah.
got to put it together and present it in March.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Does that sound right?
Yeah, the vote is the end of May at the district meeting.
Yeah.
Well, if you need any numbers, I'd be glad to helping you with the budget.
Great.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I'm going to sign off then. It's great.
All right,
seeing
thank you.
guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, Jen.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking up that first. I just wanted to, I knew she was here.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm glad that we did that. And it was fortuitous. It was still on the agenda there. It's great. Okay,
And
the
I could,
next,
go ahead, sorry.
ahead.
No,
No,
I'm
go
done.
ahead.
I'm done.
are you sure?
I was just gonna say, I know from having been involved in this other project, there's a lot of time sink of dealing with the homeowners. So the fact that she might be willing to help out is really beneficial. We don't want to get, we meaning probably Chris and Jennifer get tied up in that process because it's huge, it's a big time sink and it's a big learning curve. So she seems to be pretty available, ready and willing, which is awesome, I think.
That is,
Yeah.
that's great.
Is she on the staff, Scott, or a
She
volunteer
is.
board member?
She's on staff with Zeke Rock right over there. And
Okay.
this is a big part of her work. And she's quite good at it, dealing with the homeowners. So I thought it was a good fit.
And they're very concerned about the 5 Bays area, which is where this drains to,
Right.
right? So it fits in with their
I think
goals
so.
as well.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Super. All right, the next thing we have on the agenda was review and approval of prior meeting minutes. Have you guys had a chance to look at those? The minutes from December 8th for our regular meeting? I have looked at those.
Looked fine to me.
I have not looked at them, but if there's a motion and approval, I'm willing to abstain and approve them.
You want to take a minute and look at them? They're pretty short.
Okay, I can do that. My apologies. I'm in La La Land out here.
The other ones we have are the executive session meeting minutes from October 20th and November 17th, and we can defer on those again if we'd like. I do have one comment on the October 20th. And I can provide that.
You want me to share the screen time with those?
I don't think you have to.
Okay.
I've got
It's
them
just
here.
in the last sentence of the second paragraph where you say Chris will contact him and us funds, it should be used. And
Okay.
I would say Chris will contact him and could use funds from the
Yeah.
legal engineering budget, not that we will necessarily. And that tracks with what we said in November as well.
Sounds good.
I've read the minutes and I'm ready.
Move approval of December 8th minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that was the 12-8. Jen, should we go ahead and approve these other ones? I don't see anything that's not currently public record here. Based on conversations the Prudential Committee has had about the elementary school.
Agreed.
Have the commissioners had time to look at those?
Yes.
These are the executive session minutes.
Yes.
Do those get approved in executive session? And then they become available to the public? I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure about that either.
Maybe we could defer it.
Let's defer those,
Okay.
sake of time, and I'll look into that. Or maybe Jen, you could help me with that.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, next on the agenda are 2 items for the superintendent, the water quality report and the superintendent's report.
All right, everybody's got, I believe, in front of them, the sodium results from November and December. We didn't have November's last month. They hadn't got them before the meeting. But we did receive them a couple days later, so they're in here also. And they do have 3 consecutive months here doing the raw and the treated as was asked by Commissioner Horsley. So they are there. There's not much of a difference, but there is. And if you add in all the blended and everything else, it goes back and forth. But it's a tiny bit of a difference. We did all our coliform testing and everything. Oh, there you go. Everything came back, no violations, no detects of coliform at all. We had a clean month. I will be doing MTBE this month. It's due in. I have the bottles. I just haven't taken the samples yet to the lab. I got to give him a call, find out if he can take them early in the week or late, but they will be done before the deadline of January, the end of January. And we will be taking this quarter BOCs, but it probably won't be till next month. Other than that, that's our water quality.
Chris, is that MTBEs or PFAS?
Thank you. This is about the 3rd time I've done that today. It is PFAS, not MTBE. Sorry, that I'm talking about.
Okay. I was confused.
I'm very confusing to people. I did that to Matt today when I was talking to him.
And those are
Did the
scheduled
same
for
thing.
February? Is that correct?
They have to be done by the end of January.
Oh,
Yeah,
end of
and
January.
the PFAS does, so we can get our second quarters in.
Yep. All right. And are you guys pulling those yourself? Chris?
Yes. Yeah,
All right.
we had to pull them last time, but we will be pulling and paying for them this time.
Pulling and paying.
Yeah.
Where do those end up?
What's that?
Where do those end up? What lab is doing that for us?
I don't, I'm bringing them to Barnstable, and Barnstable's gonna send them out. So they are doing them now, but I don't know if they are actually sending them out to a lab to be done.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions from commissioners or the public? on that?
I have, I heard a presentation by Andrew Gottlieb about the new APCC State of the Waters report. And they are, grading not only estuaries and ponds, but also water supplies. And it's very interesting. He said in his presentation that one of the water suppliers was given a poor rating because it had a boil water order based on a coliform count.
Falmouth.
I forget which. I don't know if it was Falmouth, but in any case, I mean, all water departments occasionally have a coliform hit. It doesn't result in a boil water order. Is that correct?
Correct. It would have, they had a boiled water order that had to be E. coli detected.
As opposed to,
Total coliform.
okay. So that would result in in their opinion, a bad grade for the year.
Correct. Yeah.
Which I'm not sure is really
That's
fair.
not a good thing to happen, right? Exactly.
Huh?
That's not a very good thing to happen. That does to say that things weren't going too well.
So it's not the same as we getting a hit and then it clears itself up within a day or something.
It really depends how many NONs you have from it also. If you get total coliform, if you can't clear it up within, if you get so many detects, you can get an NON from it. I don't know if that means they rate it that way from NONs also. I'd have to see the report or hear it.
Yeah.
Maybe if you have an address for that, send it to me in an email or something. I can kind of listen to it a little.
Yeah, I just sent you the link to the Atlas, the State of the Waters thing. And it's good to see that the Katuitt Water District Water Department got a nice green star, which is the good one.
Nice. And we will continue with the sodium doing like we're doing, by the way, also. We already have tested last week for January. So we'll keep doing it like it was asked here. for at least a couple more months, a few more months to keep track with it.
It's interesting that the raws were all lower with one exception, and that was just 1 milligram per liter at Station 5 from the December poll. Other than that, the treateds were higher or equivalent.
There's a raw on there from Station 5 that was higher. Yeah, you're right. Then
Just the one, though.
finished. Yeah, on the same day. Taken from the same day that while the water was running, one was taken off of one spot picket, one was taken off the other.
Yeah. Might say something about the lab work.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. Want to jump into your superintendent's report?
Sure. Superintendent's report read on January 12th of 2022. So in December of 2020, we pumped 8,230,000 gallons. And in December of 2021, we pumped 8,451,000 gallons for an increase of 221,000 gallons more of water, which I think we were 179 or 72 last month. So it's averaging around, increase of people, houses that we've been new people in town. You get increases as you go. We have noticed that a lot more people are around. So I don't see anything wrong with that there. We did have quite a leak in December, but that was fixed as soon as we knew it was there. Any discussion on gallonage? No. Okay.
Well, it's good.
I do think that the irrigation, if we are interested in the irrigation, it wouldn't be this time of year. It would be the summer,
Correct.
obviously. So
Correct.
those are the months that we hope to see some decreases over time, right?
Right. Yep. Okay, so I'll get into in the month of December, we had one good sized service relocation where they had built an addition, and they didn't want to put a new. They wanted to go around the addition. They kind of did it over top of where the water service was going to be, rather than just build it and put a foundation on top of the service. They went around it, and we relocated it around the whole house and back out to the stop. We had one gate replacement done. We were trying to repair a gate that was leaking out the top and repack it, but it ended up being so old that it was a double disc gate, and we couldn't find the parts for it. We couldn't figure out how to get it apart to get it. Everything was snapping off, and we ended up having to replace the whole thing. So that was kind of a fun thing to do. We did have one sideline leak over on Whitmar, which was at the end of the main that we have over there. And we had a water main break. So we had quite a busy December with breaks and replacements and stuff like that. We had a water main break over on Route 28 that was actually a radial crack that went almost all the way around the main and almost broke apart. It was just blowing down the side on a Sunday, I think it was. It was fun to work out there. We had to get the police out there with us and help us out and everything.
Those related,
John?
Chris, are those related more to the weather?
It's tough because, most cracks like that in the water main are related to ground movement, where, eventually something shifts, and if there's a rock underneath it, something like the weight of the main snaps. They're cast iron, a lot of the older ones. So we do get them every once in a while where there's just stress on them. They have one little teeny crack that starts, and then it just keeps on going. So on something like that, basically put a Band-Aid on it. Just wrap the whole thing around where it was and tighten it down, and it stops leaking. But it just takes a while to get there. And you got to clean the old crud off the main to do it, so that you get a solid, it's like, fresh skin instead of hairy arm. You shave it first before you do it.
So you have Bortolotti on call on a Sunday to go out there.
Yeah, it was fun because it was the new guy who was on call too. He actually, the other two guys were away, so he had to give me a call, and I had to go out and help him with it. So it was it was pretty fun and everything. He did well. John, the new guy, has also passed his T2. He's taken the class for his T2 and D2. He took his T2 exam last week and passed. And he is still finishing up, I think, studying with the D2 class. That was a learn as you go, and he passed everything. He passed the class itself, but it was a free class because he's still enrolled in Cape Cod Community College. And because he was, the college let him take the class for free. So we saved ourselves $850 there, basically. Let's see. This is something that you guys are gonna like. The security system is done. Finally, they put the cyber firewall in there. This extra added stuff that we were holding out on. They finally finished that project and got everything installed. It took them almost a month and a half to get everything right, but they got everything so that everything was working perfect. And we got that done, so we can finally turn back that special appropriation that we've been carrying since for a while, we'll say. So I did talk to Ray. He's happy to hear that. What's that?
Is that since 2019?
Yeah. So it's been around for a while, and then this is extra over and above on it, but we still had the money there. And I said, well, we got it there. Let's pay this extra money to get the extra cyber stuff put in, and we did. Last thing I have in here is back probably 4 years ago, we put in a step system, level and step system here for pay in our operator's position and our office manager and assistant superintendent. We never really did one for a senior operator on there. And so we kind of got to go off of what we have for our operators there, senior being, I would say, level 5 that's there. And they have to have a position for be there for 7 years. And one of our guys is going to has been there for 7 years now and will be getting the increase. It's not much of an increase, but there's a chance now that the step increase is going to be not worth it anymore. They'll be making more than the step increase after 7 years. The next gentleman will be there for 7 years will probably be above what we have down for a salary. I don't know if we should revisit that and start looking whether it be more of a raise at that point or put a percentage rate yearly on that. But I think it's something that we ought to take a step back and look at again.
So should we put that on our agenda for the next meeting and pull up those steps that we put together?
Yeah, we could send those out
4 or 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was a while back and everything. I think Vic actually was the one who finished that up before he left and everything. So yeah, now with inflation and all, and the guys being increased at the time when we made them both senior operators, they'll be here 7 years and they'll be making over what the last step will be there. So it's going to have to be looked at and figure out a way to, just make sure it's something's fair for everybody.
So what we did is we had gotten rid of the senior operator's position and because of the assistant superintendent, as I recall.
Correct.
Okay.
So yeah, even now we did, because of the extra added, we did give them an increase in everything at the time. And when that happened, it put them that after 7 years, whatever they get, they're almost there now. Put it that way. Like I think it's, I hate to throw figures out there, but it's like 62 they go to, and they're at like 61.5 now, or something like that, something close to that. And so if there's any kind of raise this year, and the next guy that reaches 7 years, he's going to be making over 72 or 62 when it comes time. So it's something, like I said, we got to just look at it, try to revisit it in a way. And John, the new guy, by the time he gets up to there, he'll be the same way, I imagine, with what we hired him at and everything else.
Yeah, because of the cost of living increases.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, let's dust those off and bring those and get those out to the other commissioners as well as myself, because I probably have them here somewhere, but
Yeah, I
no
believe,
idea
Jen, we
where.
have those that we can send out to people to look at, correct?
Correct, I have them electronically.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, thank you. And that's what I have. Thank
Thanks.
you. Any questions? All right.
Nice, good job. All right, so that's water quality and superintendent's report. We'll move on to old business. We had the source water protection plan review. I think we've covered that already
Okay.
for now. We're gonna.
Tom, my only question with that is, do you want me to post those documents on the website? Has everybody had a chance to review them? Or do you want to hold off on posting them?
I have not reviewed them.
Okay, I'll wait for your go.
And
So-
question on what we're posting, there's the report from the students, there's the slideshow. I think they also made an attempt at Commissioner Robinson's Q&As, which I don't think we have reviewed. So I'm wondering if if those are separate decisions or not as to what we post.
I don't think I've seen the FAQ response, but the other
Oh, okay.
document that you sent me, I put into a PDF format.
Okay, I thought the Q&A was, maybe it's part of the report. Maybe it's in the
Okay.
appendix or something, the report.
Okay.
I'll try to look for that, but. Okay.
Yeah, it'd be nice
thank
to
you.
get all that stuff together, I
Yep.
think,
Yep,
and take action on it. I agree that it would be a good idea to get that out for public
yeah.
consumption. So that's, okay, just writing a note here to myself. Okay, any subcommittee updates?
Yeah, so I unfortunately could not attend the January 5th meeting of the bylaw committee. I did see minutes yesterday from it. They didn't take any decisions. They once again had a discussion about whether the bylaw should require the chair of the different committees like ours to have some kind of rotation. I had spoken to that issue previously this fall and indicated that, it's a evolving custom, not a requirement of our commission since I've been there. But and then there was also a discussion about whether there should be term limits for all of the elected positions. And the same discussion that we've had previously on that, which is there are pros and cons to that. I'm certainly a believer that the best way to get some longevity in these positions is to not require term limits. I think there is a learning curve. I mean, I'm finally getting comfortable with some of the operational details of the department. Now it's been 4 years for me. So in any case, there was nothing that no results to report.
Thank you. And the elementary school subcommittee has not met. And I don't know about the policy advisory. Have you had anything with that, Scott?
Nothing, no.
Okay. Okay. So now we get into the fun stuff, the new business. Yeah. Any comments from the public at this point on what was reported by the superintendent? What's going on with the source water protection planning? Everybody's happy. They're learning some things, hopefully. Okay. So first on our new business, we've got We have 4 items here: superintendent's evaluation, our 5-year capital budget, our operating and maintenance budget, and I'm assuming that there's 2 parts to that. There's one that the Prudential Committee just wants an update on where we are with our budget for fiscal year 22, and then there's also the formulation of the fiscal year 2023 budget to start the review process. So, shall we take them in that order? Start with Superintendent Wiseman.
Yeah. Did everybody get what I sent around? I think I might have wrote for the meeting on the 19th on that because there was a little bit of confusion on my part there.
Oh, mine. Thanks for trying to take one for me, Chris, but that was mine.
Well, I should have remembered.
I own that.
We were talking about it beforehand, and I said the 19th, right? And you said, yeah, okay. And I went back and looked afterwards, and I might have done it after I sent my email out.
Well, it was great work pulling that off. I do see there's a chat.
That's the link Mark sent.
Waters.org. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Robinson. All right. Well, we have his self-eval here. Does everybody have that available and have had a chance to look at that?
Yes.
So I'll just go through
But
it.
it was a very fair assessment. Very hard thing to do, Chris.
That's the first time I've ever had to do one, and I didn't really know what to do on it, so I kind of just took it as why not just answer the questions. Thank you.
Well, it would have just been the same thing, only in a meeting.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we've done the last few years, to my recollection. But so we've got, we've got some 4 main points of review: the infrastructure management, safeguarding, and I think you've done a fine job with that, and you've articulated that here, that there were no deficiencies, no incidents of contamination or degradation. Our water quality and supply has been maintained quite well. No equipment failures due to lack of maintenance. The infrastructure thing is something that we're going to have to deal with the capital improvement plan. And I think we've known that for a few years now, that we've got some water mains out there that need some attention. Security systems fully functional and upgraded, which is great. We've made it through that upgrade now. That's impressive. And your budgets submissions are timely and acceptable. Variances from budgets are documented and approved. So any comments from commissioners? Horsley, Robinson.
I guess we could add to that. We now have the third-party assessment from APCC that Commissioner Robinson mentioned, and we got I guess that's a green star there too. So that goes to Chris's credit, I think.
Good point. So what we need to do is give Chris a score on each of these between 1 and 3, with 1 being unacceptable, 2 meeting our requirements, and 3 exceeding requirements.
I think he gets a 3 on the first one, would be my opinion.
I agree.
Okay, I concur. Particularly having heard Commissioner Robinson's reflection about the APCC's report, which helps as a third independent party review of your work there, Chris. Nice job.
Thank you.
Okay, compliance. So Department of Environmental Protection Agency regulations met or exceeded, or are being actively addressed to satisfy full compliance. What are we actively addressing?
Right now, nothing. The only thing that we had to address was with a sanitary survey. They had wanted a written plan that we submitted and brought us right into compliance. There was only one thing, and until it was done, we weren't in compliance. So everything's gone. We have nothing right now pending.
Nice.
Everything's been submitted. We had to do a risk and resilience that had to be in by a certain time, and we did that. We had to update our ERP, and that has been done. And I have sent in the documents on that. We have it at the office. I do in my computer. I don't have the hard copies, but I have the electric version in hand. That was enough for them.
Okay. And what is the ERP?
Emergency response plan.
Emergency.
Emergency. Yep.
Thank you. Does the staff all have copies of that, or is that?
They're in it should be put down in a place that they can readily grab it. Usually it's in a shelf in my office and one up in Jen's office. We haven't got the updated version into a folder yet, but I am trying at this point to schedule. The company that did it also will give us training on it, which we're required to do once a year. And that can bring us into the new year with everybody's compliance also. So if I get them to come down, it would be like $200 a person. We have it in training. He'll come either do a Zoom meeting with us going over it, or come down and give us a presentation. We'll shut the office down for a few hours and he'll do the presentation. It's just lining up a date.
Yeah, you gotta get everybody there for that, right?
Right, correct.
Good. Nice. Any other questions, Commissioners Horsley and Robinson?
I guess I would just add, because this seems to be split to, do you meet the standards or exceed them? Chris simply said he looks like on the first one, the DEP regs, we met it, but I guess I would add that the work that he's done on the sodium issue, we've actually been doing more analysis of that than required, which I think is an important thing. And so I think that might bump that one up a little bit higher too, to the sort of maybe somewhat above the minimum requirements.
Yeah, we got out in front of the PFAS thing as well.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Which was nice. All licenses, technical credit hours, self and staff are up to date.
Yes,
So-
they are. They believe me, they got more points than they really needed, and it's good to have all that there so they can take whatever class they want and keep on going. And like I always say, knowledge is the way to go. If I didn't have them smart, then I couldn't have this evaluation. I wouldn't be in compliance. I wouldn't be if they weren't out there taking the tests and stuff like that.
Yeah, you've really stepped that game up this past year, I think.
Thank you.
And I think the guys have benefited from that as well. That's nice. Commissioner Robinson, any thoughts, questions?
No, I think that there's, from what I can see from the outside, it seems like a well-oiled machine inside. But I think we'd hear about it if it wasn't.
Yeah, I'd hope so. And that, I see JR and Matt are here. I hope they feel confident that they would come through the chain of command and let people know if they felt that they needed more technical credit hours or anything like that. If there were any problems, and I think we've done an outstanding job. I would think, from my perspective, I would go with an exceeds on this one as well.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Next is our personnel management, training, cross-training of staff, adequate to ensure appropriate coverage. All employee performance reviews are completed in a timely manner. All disciplinary actions are carried out promptly and documented, and all employee performance issues are addressed. I'll just say, in my perspective and recollection, I think those last two, I don't think we've had any disciplinary problems or.
We have not. Right. We're doing all right now. We've had no problems there. Everybody gets along. I have nothing to report that anybody's done something that's, broken anything down or anything like from doing something wrong even or anything like that. I haven't had to write anybody up. I haven't had to do anything like that. It's been a pretty good year. Knock on wood.
I would concur. I see that. And it's not been an easy year, and the staff has gotten, I think, a lot of praise from our constituents.
And like I said, on this first part there with the cross training of staff and everything else. We did get a new employee. I have relied on the senior operators to train him quite a bit, and they have been doing a great job with him, giving them, you know, both their attitudes in life. This is how we do it, you know. Take them out to the wing one week, one take them out the next. So it's nice. It's nice to see.
I think that every year we shouldn't forget that Jen is a very important part of this team, and certainly often the public facing person with you know, interacting with the public. And I've never heard any.
Right. If I hired her this year, I'd take the credit, but I didn't. I hired her, what, 7 years ago, 8 years? I don't know how long ago now. How long, Jen?
I will be 8 on July 1st. I know,
Okay.
time flies.
Right.
Seamless and smooth, I would say. 8 years. Because I've been around for, geez, I don't know, 5.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, it's been a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sherry prepared me well.
Somebody did.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one complaint.
Yep.
Commissioner Horsley is wearing a T-shirt. We're, you know, this is Katuitt in January. Why is he wearing a T-shirt?
Because he's not in
not-
it.
West Coast, baby.
You want to get into it?
That's not a wool T-shirt, you mean?
That's the Pacific Ocean out there, if you can see it.
Boy, oh
Oh,
boy,
look at
oh boy.
Look at that tree or shrub or
Yeah,
what?
see that? This is not a pitch pine over here.
No,
Oh,
that looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking time away from your time away. Join us.
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it.
What do you think on personnel management? Scale of 1 to 3.
3.
3.
I like it. Very unanimous. And the last, but not least, and what has really been supported well by his office manager, as well as his field representatives out there as operators, is communication. So communications with other municipal boards, commissions, committees, contractors, and regulatory authorities are adequate to produce the desired outcomes. I would say they're more than adequate, but that's Chris's word, adequate. All interactions with ratepayers and the general public are done in a professional, respectful manner with no discrimination. I concur. Any comments, commissioners? This just seems too easy, Chris.
I know it's going. Hey, that's all right. Keep going.
All right.
I will make a comment there though. The communication, as I say in there, with the ratepayers and everything else out there, my people out there right now, they know they're the mouth up to a water department, and they, not just me, they believe the same thing I do out there. They kill them with kindness. You know, if there's a problem, to help them, be there, talk to them about it, because they know, hey, you guys pay our wages, and we're going to just try to make you as happy as we can. And I appreciate them for doing it also.
Yeah, and I've witnessed that personally with having bumped into them out in the field. I haven't seen Matt out in the field, but I haven't had a chance to stop and talk with him. But I have taken opportunities to stop and talk with both JR and John this year, and found them both really, really kind and informative individuals.
Correct.
Does a nice job. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're the smallest water district on the Cape and serving one village, and it's really important to have that rapport with the customers.
Agreed.
Okay.
I think this might have to be a 3 also, Chris.
Another exceeds on the communication. We might have to broaden our scale for me.
I don't mind the clean sweep.
Since we're gonna bring up the whole employee step thing.
Yeah.
I do have one question.
Yes.
Chris, do the Cape Water superintendents get together like they used to?
Not since COVID.
Yeah.
We haven't had any, they don't do a Zoom meeting.
Why don't they do a
They
Zoom
did.
meeting?
I don't know. I'll tell you the truth, but they did, every time they've got together for any meeting right now, I think there was one in December, a holiday meeting they had, and they were all gonna get together and have a lunch someplace, and it was a day that I was on vacation, going someplace, so I couldn't make it that we had. So I think that was the first time in almost a year. They canceled everything else out last year. And everything that they had, they canceled, going down and further every year. They go to it, say we were gonna do it in person, then they'd cancel it like a week before. I'm hoping everything picks back up this year. It would be nice.
I mean, I know you have relationships with some of them, and that's great. Just seems with all these new things coming down the pike, it'd be really good to have the collective wisdom of all of them.
Yeah.
You know, to whatever degree you can get together with them, I think it's useful. It might even be more useful than getting together with DEP and others that, you know, are not doing the hands-on stuff that you all are doing.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna second Commissioner Robinson's question here. I do think it's important that we have this communication with the other water departments. I know you, as you just said, Commissioner Robinson, I know you reached out, Chris, at various times, but I'm surprised, frankly, that the Utilities Association, which I used to be involved in a long time ago, is not meeting by Zoom. It seems frankly crazy to me. I mean, it's a great group of, so I'm wondering if there's a way to try to maybe, since we're being so easy on you here with everything being perfect, what if we were to ask Chris to maybe be, even though we're the smallest, that doesn't mean we can't be an instigator here. What if we ask Chris to reach out and see if we can try to suggest that this be reinitiated? Because, you know, this COVID situation could be here to stay for another year or more, who knows? And it just strikes me as a lost opportunity to share experiences and resources with all these other groups. So I guess I would like to see that followed up on. And I don't see any reason why we couldn't reach out, we meaning Chris, of course, Chris and/or Jen, reach out and say, hey, let's Zoom. So that would be my suggestion.
Is it a question of administrative support? I mean, Commissioner Horsley knows, used to be organized regionally from a certain.
Well, maybe you could reach out to, you know, Tim Passakarnis at the Cape Cod Commission. This would fall into his domain, and I would suspect he would be supportive of this. And the commission has tremendous, you know, abilities on organizational matters. There is a group of regional stormwater people that meet. There's a group of regional coastal people that meet. So I don't know why water suppliers aren't meeting. So I think
Usually,
that's something we should pursue.
Yeah, they used to have a presentation and then have a little discussion on there and everything at the time, talk about upcoming events and everything else. They have been putting classes out quite a bit, making sure that there's still classes out there. But it's just getting together. I think we did get together once over the summer. It was more of a training session and everything else than anything than a meeting. You know, basically it was everybody just sitting around talking, you know, asking how everybody's personal life was, how they were handling themselves and how they were getting through COVID, what they were doing with the guys and everything else. But they do have the meetings there and they try to in between every once in a while. So I'll give Bob a call, who's the president.
I'll amend my question or suggestion with an offer too. And that would be that if either you, Chris, or Jen want to join me on a call with Tim Passakarnis, I'd like to make a strong suggestion to him and the commission that they help get this back on track. So
with the Cape Cod Commission?
Utilities Association. I think to Commissioner Robinson's point about if they need administrative help, like organizing meetings and stuff. I'm guessing the commission could provide that pretty easily.
Yeah, before I blindside anybody, let me give Bob Prophet a call, who's the president of the
Sure,
association.
that's fine.
And
That's
talk to
fine.
him about it. I'd just rather have that and then have somebody
Yep,
come and call him up and
that's
say,
fine.
something.
That's
Give him a
fine.
little heads up on it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just writing some notes down here for goals for the following evaluation period, and I just kind of filled that little space with this.
Yeah, I think that's a
conversation
good one.
right here.
That's a good one.
Pursue opportunities to collaborate with other local water departments.
Okay.
You know, Chris, maybe one other thought is, I'm just thinking ahead. My guess is, and I'm not trying to toot my institution's horn at Tufts, but we may end up with one of the better source water protection plans on Cape Cod, even though we're the smallest. Maybe we could even suggest that as a topic at one of the meetings to present what we're doing. Because I think people might be interested in it.
It's an idea. Yeah. I'll talk to him and say, we're offering and everything, what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'll have a little conversation with him. Yeah. He's usually pretty open. He's a real nice guy. He's
Okay.
over, he's the super born.
And is he the Utilities Association or the Waterworks Association? What it was?
Barnstable County Waterworks Association. Yeah.
Barnstable County. Okay. Nice.
We still get meetings with MWI. Mass Waterworks still has, Mass Waterworks still has events and meetings and different things. So we do get to talk, and I do talk to Jen Peterson 2-3 times a year about different things. Usually I'm asking her a question if she can help me out with something, but I never really call her up just to chat.
Yeah, but I think what I'm hearing is that it'd be nice for them for there to be some venues where you guys could all get together and chat and maybe do it through some Zoom meetings, and because it's hard to do the in-person workshops nowadays, but it's not so hard to use the Zoom platform or any other meeting platform where you can get together and share some thoughts. And I think the Source Water Protection Plan is a great vehicle to help with that, because I think Scott and his students did an outstanding job for us, and we're gonna carry that thing a long ways for the district. I think that's a real bonus for us this year. There's a
I
couple.
like it, Mr. Chairman, when I bring up an idea, and everybody else gets a task. I like that.
That's good.
You're a true manager.
All right. That's leadership, Mark. Very nice. All right. So any strengths, areas for improvement? I think his strength is he's got very thorough system knowledge from nuts to bolts, right? From soup to nuts, from however you want to put it. And I think that really has been a benefit for the district. But you have been here for quite some time now, and you've taken your job thoroughly, very, very professionally, and done a nice job with it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I think we said it last year that I think I did, in fact, that I appreciated Chris taking COVID so seriously so early to make sure that his people were, be able to work safely. And, from what I've heard, I think that that's continued. So I'm glad to hear that.
Great.
I'm reading my evaluation as I'm talking. I'm not looking away from everybody. I got it on my phone and it's real small, so I'm trying to fight. I didn't give myself a copy of it. I had to go into my email and bring it up.
How is the office facility? Is it? I just wrote down a note here that you maintain a nice, healthy environment for our staff, and you have done a great job with that. And I'm glad that we were able to pick up that other truck, and that we so far have been able to keep our staff, for the most part, very healthy. And when they have fallen ill, we've been able to cover the needs of the district.
Correct. We did put in a HEPA filter system in there. One of the floor units that treats the whole office out front and everything. So we have that going all the time, 24/7. And I actually last month went out and bought a fogger. So that every Friday, everybody leaves a little early, we can help it. And I fog the buildings both out back and the office. Disinfect.
Nice. Are you using those in the pump houses as well, or no? Probably
No,
not.
I haven't been doing that because really we're the only ones. The only time I've done that was if we've had somebody, I've had the guys go down and spray. I had John one day go down and spray if there was somebody in there that was suspected or anything like that. Like we didn't know,
Yeah.
but we don't have any maintenance being done. If the guys are in there doing maintenance, maybe now we'll go in there and use it afterwards once they're in there, just so we know that everything's cleaned up.
Good. All right.
But the fire department used to come over and do it every Friday afternoon, but theirs froze last winter and they didn't use it anymore afterwards. They thought it broke and everything else, so they stopped doing it. So that's one of the things when I said we were going to pick up again, I went out and bought one so that we could make sure that we had that being done.
Good work. Anybody have anything else on this? So we've got an overall rating of a 12, exceeds expectations. And I've got some notes that I jotted down. Jen, you'll take a listen and write some things down, and I'll come by and sign off on this in the next few days. Early next week, maybe. What do you think?
Not Monday.
Not before
Not
Wednesday.
Monday, not before Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm out on Tuesday, but I'll be in on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's fine. Anything else on this item?
I just want to make a comment. I thank you guys for this, but I couldn't get this without them. Between Jen and the guys, they make me look real good too. So it's because of them that I can get this. Thank you guys. Thank you for just want you to realize and know that. And I figure you do by the way you were talking.
We do.
Yeah. You've got a good team. We want to keep them,
We do.
all of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So that'll be, let's see, after 124, 123. Janice, I'm not looking at a calendar here.
Oh, no, anytime the 19th or after.
19.
Yeah.
Just like January to get over.
Right.
All right. All right. I'll give you a call first.
Sounds good.
Thanks. All right, the next on our agenda was the 5-year capital budget, which we've got items listed in a document, a spreadsheet that Jen's put together for us.
So
Can I put that on the screen? I haven't seen it
Absolutely.
lately.
Yep. I just got to bring up I sent myself the Excel spreadsheet so we could update it on the fly. Okay.
So I'm just not sure how do we approach this when some of these things are real big ticket items, particularly like the treatment plant, and we hope that we don't need that, but we want to have it out there as something that may be needed. I think that the electrical upgrades at the pump stations, that seems like it's probably more of a priority as with the well cleaning and the water main replacements, particularly since we've already exceeded our budget for water mains in fiscal year 2022. What do you guys think on this? Trucks?
One thought I guess I have, Mr. Chairman, would be if we put a placeholder for the treatment plant out as far as we can, which I guess would be 28.
Yeah.
And then just explain that the reason that'll help actually be a sales pitch for doing some shorter term source water protection work and I don't mean a fictitious sales pitch, but a real one.
Yeah,
It would show the rationale, if we put it, I don't know what the right number is there for the treatment plan. Is it $10 million or $20 million? If it was $10 million last year, it's at least 12 or 15 now, because the way things have gone up, but it's a lot of money. And that might help us, make the argument for doing some preventative stuff up front.
yeah, I agree. So we would put that out into fiscal year 2028. And it's something that we want to make sure that people are aware of, but we also
Yeah.
want to try to avoid.
Right. And then for the innovative systems, if we use Jen's number, I think she said 20 to 30, if we use, I don't know, I would use something like 25 as a midpoint, because hopefully most of them are retrofits.
Mhm.
And I think we counted something like 20 some odd systems that look like they might be priority, but that doesn't all have to be in 1 year. So maybe, I don't know, if you did 10 of those per year, just in testing,
That sounds very aggressive, Scott.
10 per year.
I mean, you don't even know if people are gonna, want to cooperate.
True, although they did get 8 people to sign up over at Jubal's Pond within a year after the outreach. So I don't know, you're probably right, it is aggressive, but again, for budgeting purposes, I'm just wondering if it's, if we don't
We could
spend the
do
money.
4 a year for the next 4 year, 24 to
Okay.
27, do 4 of them a year, 3 or 4
So
a year.
100 grand each year.
Yeah,
That's fine. I think that's reasonable. And people will say that's a lot of money, but if you add up the 4 years and then compare it to the 10 million.
and maybe this is a 4-year period to show.
Effectiveness.
Yeah, and get neighborhood acceptance, and
Right.
hey, did you fix your septic system? Yeah,
Right.
I haven't.
Right.
How do I do that? And really, they'll do it for free? What?
Yeah. Good point. Okay, I like that.
Maybe even instead of just doing it 100 all across the board, maybe
Up it a little bit.
no, just I was going to say make it stepped up like 50 in the first year and 75 and then 100, 125. Just because I think that there will be some momentum if it's successful.
Yeah, although while you're deleting there, I'm not sure I'd go lower than 100, because that's only 3 or 4 systems. What if we started with 100 and then upgrade it from there? And inflation and whatnot, you probably need to add 10% per year anyways, maybe more than that.
There's no economy of scale of a company coming in doing several at a time, probably.
They probably are, but not at this number, maybe not so much. But I think you're right. We need to get some experience with this. So I think getting it going with a smaller number, but I don't know if I go lower than 100.
Okay.
Maybe up it from that, maybe add 20 grand a year, 120, something like that.
So with the thought that you would get 4 done in the first year, which is not next year, it's the following year.
Yeah.
After we do some groundwater monitoring.
Yeah.
And some outreach and negotiations with landowners. And
Yeah.
some of them may have some pretty new systems as it is.
Right.
We have no idea.
Right.
So yeah, that seems reasonable to me. I mean, if we could, is Barnstable Clean Water funding the ones around Schubel's?
They're paying the whole thing. That's all private donations.
So what's their, I wonder what so it's private donations to Barnstable Clean Water
Correct.
Association.
Correct.
From people that live in the same watershed that we're talking about, not all of them, because obviously that
Right.
includes areas of COMM as well.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes out of their general fund. They get donations from many people. I don't know what their membership is, but it might be, I'm guessing it's several hundred people.
Yeah. And they've got, I mean, they've got a bigger watershed to worry about. I guess I'm concerned that we would be competing with them for money when their picture is
Oh, I see what you
kind
mean.
of the same as ours, right? Only we're dealing as much with drinking water or more so with drinking
Yeah.
water phase itself. But I just.
I don't think they'd see it as competition.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Then we have our truck replacements.
Gonna have to change that to 60, Jen, yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, we have 5 trucks now. We bought one last year, right?
4, yeah,
We have 4.
correct. The lime truck isn't slated in the next 5 years. It's about 6 years out. It's not that old yet. It's only a couple years old. The superintendent's trucks should be slated for 2026. And that should be 48.
Okay.
Any
Yeah.
estimate on the lime truck, Chris? There's
Excuse
no
me?
way- There's no way you'd know an estimate on the lime truck that far out.
No, that's a specialty truck. I'd have to get at the time
Yeah,
what they're doing. And that's out, like I said, that's beyond the 5 years.
it would be beyond 28.
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so.
Did we skip over test wells?
Yeah, we were gonna put that in here, right? 20 grand maybe?
Yeah, and now I think we want to start next year with that, right? Fiscal
Yeah.
year 2023.
Yep.
Do you think it's 20 grand for, that would do maybe 5 test wells?
I think, I don't know we need that many wells, but we'll need some of Tom's time.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
guessing that would include the wells. I'm guessing maybe 5 or 10 for the drilling and the testing and another 5 or so for his time. So I think 20 would cover it.
Yeah, thanks for doing that, Jen, and catching that, because I don't know if the Prudential Committee wants numbers for consultant fees for engineering, or if they're just looking for the,
Capital, does say capital here.
yeah,
Right.
okay. All right,
The other thing is that we have on here, oh, it's on the bottom, well cleaning. I can give you, well, if we're gonna take this in time, we'll go with the infrastructure if you want first.
yeah. Was
I-
that the water main replacements?
Yeah, and that's kind of tough because that would have to be really like, if they're coming up and telling me what, usually I get an email from Joe Warchuk from the town of Barnstable telling me which roads they're gonna be repaving. And if we want to jump in and do something, then that's the time to do it.
Mhm.
But I don't get that till the year before. So some of the oldest water mains we have in town is Main Street and Ocean View, and Ocean View they just did this year. So I don't think they're gonna be breaking up Ocean View for quite a while. But there are parts of Main Street there that, are original. We'll put in 36, all old cast iron 10-inch main. Coming up on 28. I would hate to hit 28 and do anything, but and it goes right down Main Street from Newtown Road halfway down. Those are our oldest mains in town.
Was there some historical average that we,
It's kind of
research?
funny. Yeah, it's kind of funny because most of the water mains that we've changed over at the time, if he lets me know before, we go and try to get the funds to do it. I think we did School Street one year and we piggybacked onto it. And we had some main replacement money in there for, I think, at the time. And I think it cost us, I think it came in at 90,000 or something to that effect or more. But it had to be with just a certain section there. We were trying to increase it up.
There
We
aren't
used
any
main
new
plate-
mains. There's
Yeah.
no new mains that you would envision.
I'd have to go back and look at the records on that. I know that when we put the water main down through where Oregon Beach is, from the end of Weston's property and hooked it in again across that causeway, that cost us almost $200,000, not more, to do that. A lot
So
of money.
you went all the way from Weston's out to the island?
No, we went from Weston's to Main Street for Pinquixet Cove. And that was a dead end for many years there. And when McCourt came in to do the work, he wanted to hook up a water main through. We had the money there and we connected going across. Then he came in and hooked up and made a loop from his property over to Pinquixet. It was kind of after the fun, after we spent the money, everything kind of got handled at that time for water quality.
Hmm.
It's a deep one there. We had to do the directional bore there and everything else and go low.
Maybe just put some asterisks, say, as needed, or
I could
Yeah,
try to
when
give Joe,
opportunities arise.
in other words,
I
let
think
them
Joe's
know that
fault
these are capital costs, but they really can't be forced into any particular fiscal year. But that we do expect sometime in the next 5 years to have to do something.
And this year, we've already spent over 27,000 on water.
on a main replacement, yeah, main repairs.
Right? And that's just repairs of existing water mains.
It's water mains and replacements. When you do it, everything's up. Everything's more expensive than ever right now. I'll give Joe a call and find out if he has anything over the next 5 years, if they're planning on doing any major improvements in Katuitt and what the roads are. And if that's the point, then I can try to get someone in and give me a little bit of a more of an estimate on it, how much per foot to think about to do it. Talking to a couple engineering firms and see what they're saying. Sometimes they'll say, think if you're going to put an 8-inch water main in, $60 a foot, something to that effect.
Hmm.
Depends what the price is now and everything. So I'll make a couple phone calls and find out that.
Yeah, if you could get
I
that
think we're just going to put as needed on there. It would be
as needed, but if you could get an estimate of how much per foot, and then we could figure out how many feet we have under Main Street. That's all that old stuff from the 30s. I mean, it might be fortuitous to hang some numbers into those lines.
okay.
And again, I think it's a capital improvement program. It's projecting what we might end up needing, so that the
Right.
district plans for that, or at least is aware of it.
All right. We were talking to about with the electrical upgrades that she has here.
Yep.
Of either trying to do both of them at once, or putting them over 2 different years. If we do them both at once, we can probably save like probably $5,000 or something like that, doing them both at the same time. We're talking, $55,000 to do the both, or $60,000, 30 and 30 over 2 years. So that just would be a thought of, where you'd want to put it out there.
So it's just 2 pump stations?
Yeah, the 2 oldest ones that are real old need to be looked at and changed out.
Well, why don't you
Would
put?
you
why
want to
don't you
do
put-
them in the same year?
I would rather have them done in the same year. If they can do them both over the winter, that would be the way to go.
How critical is it in terms of time?
They've been talking about it for 10 years, so it's just never
Oh.
been done. It's been the electrician saying to me as he's in there, "You're gonna have to change that one day," you're gonna have to change that one day. And I'm at the point here where I'm like, yeah, okay, I understand. We're really gonna have to. It's
Well,
worth
let's do, why not do it this year? Why not?
coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
Can you put electrical upgrades at 2 pump stations?
Yes.
what stations are those, Chris? Is that like
Station
3,
number 1 and number 3. Yeah.
1 and 3? Okay,
This
and
was-
well cleaning.
I had Jen add this. I get the wells inspected every year. They do a flow test out of them. Last year, everything worked fine. The year before, everything was working fine. The year before that, we cleaned 2 wells, so they worked fine. When they start to go downhill, that's when we have to go in there and clean them out, get all the iron out and everything else that's in there, anything that's building up iron and manganese and anything like that. So some of them, they say they each have their own. Some wells are a little more. I think Station 4, the last time we cleaned it, we had to go back in there 7 years later and clean it. So that would put us out to like 2026, 27, that we're probably gonna have to clean it again. It's about 25,000 to do that. If we can get 2 done at the same time, usually I can get it done. If we say 50 or something like that, we can have what's ever left over there. If we do it 2 years in a row, it really depends which ones need it at the time. And that's a lot of money to throw out for something that could last 10 years instead of killing it, before. So, I mean, if I notice it's starting to decline, I go off what, right now it's Weston and Sampson who's doing the testing. We had the same guy testing it for probably 20 years at least. And he tells us each time, he's gone through 3 different companies and he keeps his notes. We have the notes going back saying, here's your pump curve. This is how it looks. This is your ratio to motor, to wire to motor, whatever it is. I'm up in the air. I have no idea, but he says you're starting to lose out. You're spending way too much electricity to pump this, and you're not getting out the pump you need. So he says I'd put that on for the next couple of years, but that hasn't happened in a couple of years, but it's going to. And you were saying here, what's going out 5 years? We got to, it'd be nice to put, say, 25,000 in a couple of these spots for well cleaning, because it could come out anywhere at any time. We can move it as we go.
Is this capital expense though, or is that more operations and maintenance?
I don't carry $25,000 to throw out there. That's the only thing. It would have to be. In the past, we used to say well cleaning, and we'd have to get it at a special appropriation. They'd put it down there. I would sometimes wait till I had 2 because I could get a deal and get 2 of them done at the same time for the same price, or just a little bit more than 1. And it's worked that way in the past. That was back when Mike and Agnes were there. They don't like you to carry over too much money. And that was the thing. I could carry over. If I had a balance there, I could get a 10, say I had a balance of $10,000, I could get 30,000 the next and get 2 more done or something like that.
Yeah, so it's a special type of cleaning. It's not really
correct. Yeah, they have to
maintenance.
go down and purge it and put chemicals through it, clean all the metals out of it. And
How about instead of cleaning, call it rehabilitation or something that sounds
Yeah.
more
It's a cleaning and
permanent.
rehab. Yeah.
Cleaning sounds like something, you need to do every year or something. But it's a
Extends the
rehab.
useful life of the asset. So I believe
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that the more water we pump, since our pumpage is up, that we would need them cleaned or rehabbed more often, or would that be less often because we have more water flowing through them?
I can tell you that when I started working here many, many years ago, we didn't have to clean them. It wasn't till probably, I'd say 15 years ago, someone said, hey, you're going to have to clean that well. And then we had to clean them all. Now some of them we've had to clean twice since then. It's weird. the effect of it. I don't know if because the water's changed that much more. You
Hmm.
know, if we have been getting that manganese a little higher and stuff like that, maybe that's the reason.
And
I'm
that
not
would-
positive. But
That would track with well 4, with pump station 4 being more of a problem.
Yep. I have some pictures I could show you that looks like that when they pulled it out.
Sludgy.
You're wondering how it's even working.
Yeah. Well, I think you should budget for them for every year, you know, you're not gonna do the same one every year, but you got 5 wells that need to be cleaned and
Right.
rehabbed.
This is just a plan here. You know, we're not
Right.
automatically going for it. So yeah, if
Exactly.
you put in over a 5, not this year coming up because I don't have any expectations. I haven't been asked. But if you put 50 going right across for the next 5 years there, that's what could happen.
Yeah. And if we get our source water protection plan implemented, maybe it'll be
Yeah.
less. All right, GIS software. This is Matt's baby, right? Isn't Matt gonna teach us all how to do GIS? Is he on there?
He's still here, yes.
Good,
I am here.
nice.
I'll leave it up to the professionals.
Yeah, he'll teach us all. But it would be nice to have, wouldn't it?
We do
what-
have
Good night.
we do have a GIS system for the mapping and everything else. We do not have anything for. We might have to look more into this. I think Jen can help me out here too, with the work order program and everything else.
Yeah,
How the GIS can help you to locate a house, you know, where the curb stop is there. And how you can right from there, get your work order, print your reading, send it to Jen and boom, done. You know. One of
we
these
don't need
days,
the Rolodex.
yeah, that's fun.
3 copies of every card.
There you go. Hey, it works.
It does, and it comes on the work order now. Yeah.
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 Well, kind of an aside to that, Ray and Lisa and I are going down to Brewster Water tomorrow afternoon to talk with them because they use Vadar billing software, and that's what Ray and Lisa use in the admin office. So they're looking maybe to adopt a software that would interface with their accounting software and relieve some of the audit concerns. From what I understand from the notes that I've gotten from the office manager in Brewster, that billing system doesn't print the work orders and schedule work and the tie cards and the gate cards and all that Brava does. And that requires an additional, an add-on software called Utility Cloud that may have that GIS capability associated with it. So we may be looking at a software budget here over the next year or so. Ray, I think, has talked to Prudential about absorbing at least the Vadar module cost because it interfaces with their software. So we may have to look at Utility Cloud or something similar in the future if we move in that direction.
That'll be interesting. That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow, yeah.
Oh, good. Do you have any figures you want to put into this projection at this point, or should we hold off on that? Throw some asterisks in there.
Right.
We might be able to get a better perception tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
I do know that in talking with Barnstable Water, they use Utility Cloud and a different billing system. And they pay a monthly maintenance fee of like $895 a month for their program. So, I mean, they're looking at 12 grand a year just in maintenance fees, never mind what the cost of the software was in the implementation. So I would say in the initial year, we're probably looking at close to 25 grand and then maybe 12 grand a year forward. Right now, we pay $1,500 a year, so this is going to be a big pill to swallow.
Well, so let's put it in.
All right.
Well, that would be on the budget cost, though. That would be in a budgetary thing, I would believe.
For the,
The initial
maintenance costs?
software would be a cost here, but the carry-on would be, the monthly fee would go into our regular
Correct.
budget.
That would be part of the operating and maintenance. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're thinking initially 25,000 there, you're thinking?
Yeah, and I think if admin had their preference, it would be in the coming calendar year or the coming fiscal year.
Hey, we raised the rates, right? We're bringing the money in.
We
Now
did.
spend it.
So I'll see if I can get a more solid number there, but I'll put that in as a placeholder for now.
Perfect. Good. And then we just need to think about the water main replacements, Chris. I know it's
Right,
as needed, but you know, when we're seeing that they need repairs over and over again, and we've got some that are sitting on the ground for over 65, 85 years now, right?
Yeah, 1936 they went in.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
those are old.
yes, they are.
Chris, what year did the one that you just had the leak on get installed? Because that was right across from the one on Hopewell/Content, right? Are those similar in age?
That's a 10-inch main. That might. I'd have to look back to the original on that. I'm not positive. That was a 10-inch main though, but I don't think it was as new. I believe we came out and headed right for the center of town when we put the system in originally.
Okay.
And ran down Main Street right to Ocean View and looped around Ocean View back up. I'll have to look back again and see if I can find the originals.
I just wondered if there was a common denominator between the two, if it was age of the main or pressure in the main or construction around the main or something that
Right.
might have.
Good thoughts, Jen. Gotta be something. Anything else on this that we want to discuss at this point? I think that'll give them a good idea of some of the things that could come up, right? You know, we have our stabilization fund for things that are unplanned. We have our tank fund for the West Street tank. So I don't know, and that's one that may need painting in the next 5 years, just because the mold and mildew issue on that seems to be something that's fairly chronic.
That we have the USDA reserve fund for that we can use towards that.
Yeah, okay. So that's nothing that I don't think we need to put anything for that.
Yeah, I don't expect to have to paint that right away within the next so many years. I don't believe that mold is affecting the paint at all on there. It's just, it's not eating at the paint at least.
Good.
I think it's just more of a visual thing. Yeah, aesthetic.
Yeah. Okay, and the last thing on our agenda, and thank you for bearing with me, is our budget, right? Oh no, and then we have a leak adjustment.
That's really quick.
Okay. So operating and maintenance budget. So that's for FY 2023. But I'm looking at a couple of documents you've got here.
Yeah. So the one that I have up on the screen now, and I apologize, I think on the copy I sent you, it had proposed fiscal year 22. It
Yep.
should be 23.
That's what
The
I
other
thought.
one in your packet that's dated January 10th, the Katuitt Water Department fiscal year 22 dated January 10th. That's just an idea of where we are with our spending through the warrant that you just signed this week. And I know that you're going to need that, Tom, for your prudential committee on the 24th. So we may have one more warrant between now and then, and I'll update that for you.
Perfect. Yeah, that's something they asked for, so I'll bring that.
Yeah. So Chris and I took a stab at this this week to get ready for tonight's meeting. Things that are in bold are things that are a change over the prior year. Obviously, we left the salaries blank until the conversation tonight because those are based on the evaluations and your recommendations. So we'll leave that blank for now. Based on the price increases and the age of the infrastructure and the existing budget deficit, we increased the water mains minimally to address what might come up in the next fiscal year. We increased stations and tanks for some pump replacement that may need to take place. Everything else was level budgeted in that area. We made some changes to advertising based on actual expenses from the current year, as well as postage. We increased the building supply because of increases and additional PPE needs, mostly based on COVID. We decreased the dues and licenses because the backflow testing and recertification happened in this fiscal year, and that won't need to happen until 2 fiscal years from now. Based on the age of the service truck and until a replacement is made, we increased the truck repair budget, increased chemicals based on anticipated price increase for the product as well as fuel and delivery costs, decreased telephone based on actual expense for fiscal year 22. The consumption assessment increases because that's based on the usage from 2020, which we know was high. And decreased training and education because we part of the increase in the last fiscal year was due to the T2 training, the licenses for the new operator and the T2 trainings class that needed to happen before the test. So that those are reflected there. And then we increased the service connections because of the contractor cost and the price of materials. And I do have backup calculations here that I won't bore everybody with, but we go into it pretty intensively to come up with these numbers. So there's some solid data behind them.
Mr. Chairman, I guess I had one comment. I guess last year when we had this discussion, I think at your suggestion, we decided to invest more in education and training, which I thought was a great idea. And I know it's hard to anticipate these things, but that's the one, I know it's not a big item, but I think that's one that I'd like to keep where we were, if not increase again. I think we just had a great review with our superintendent. He told us that he got a good review because of all the staff training and whatnot. So I just think, I mean, you and I may have a bias here as educators, Mr. Chairman, but I think this is an important item and I would like to keep that at or higher than we were.
I'd agree. At least the 6,000. Let's see where we're at with that right now. So it was budgeted at 6. We've only spent 1,446.
Correct.
With-
We have we have an actual quite a few free classes that we
Yeah.
have. Like I had said, John got a class free there for being, and we also belong to, as you all know, Mass Rural Water Association, who puts out quite a few classes, and because we belong to them, they're free to members. And a lot of our classes that have been taken this year have been taken through them. There've been Zoom classes that have been taken through them, and you don't have to pay. So that's why some of these, that's why we're at the budget we are there, because of our opportunity of taking free classes. I mean, there could have been another $800 off of that, and it's expected that there will be close to $600 to $1,000 getting off of there for the rest of the year, if not maybe even more.
Yep.
Depending if people take classes and everything, but it's good to have it in there. We just took it down because we didn't think we'd have to send anybody to. Everything's been met. I will say at this point, unless someone decides they want to go to take a T3 or something like that, or a D3, and increase that way. That would be the only thing, and that's a reimbursement thing, and it would have to be practical for us.
Well, okay, yeah, and that's all good. I agree that it's nice to have those free courses, and we might not need the D3, T3 stuff, but we might need some training in GIS. We may
Right.
need some training in the new budgeting software,
Mhm.
right? And that could be expensive. So
Right.
I'm
We're
with
talking $1,000 right now just for the ERP training I was talking about, something like that.
right,
Right.
there you go.
We do
Yeah.
that every year. Yeah.
So I'd like to at least keep it at the 6,000 mark, and if we
Yeah.
don't spend it all, we don't spend it all.
Yep.
At least we have it so that we can be proactive, particularly with some of the things that we projected and talked about today. But other than that, I think you did an outstanding job.
Yep.
Commissioner Robinson, thoughts?
Well, it looks fine to me.
And I will.
I think level funding the education is probably good. It shows our commitment, if nothing else.
I guess the only other question or comment would be on the consulting engineering. What was it, down towards the bottom there, 50 grand?
Yeah.
If we do get into the septic business, I know that Barnstable Clean Water also has been paying some engineering design fees to do this. I think that's included in the 25 grand that Jennifer mentioned. But the last budget we talked about was capital, which I don't think includes engineering design. So we may want to stick something in there for that purpose. I don't know what the right number is, but we might want to consider doubling that up to like 100 grand. I know that I think my recollection is they were paying about 4 or 5 grand per site for engineering design for the septic upgrades. So 4 of those might be what, 20 grand?
20,
Yeah, maybe that's the number. Maybe just add 20 there. If we,
bump it to 70.
yeah,
So in the capital budget, we put that first one in fiscal year 24, and this budget is for 23. We need the
Oh, I'm sorry.
engineering in advance of the 24 or in the same
oh, we
year?
might, because you have to
Okay.
submit the plans for permits. So it might be good to put it in here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good place.
Okay.
Maybe put septic engineering design or septic design. Yeah.
We're probably going to get some pushback on that, I'll tell you, because that's usually one that we don't expend all of. Like right now, there's 43,000 left in there.
Yeah,
We haven't expended a lot of that, but we've overexpended in the other budget. So I don't want them to think that we're trying to put any kind of a larger cushion in there at all or anything like that. We just make sure if we do this, that we tell them the reasoning with, that we have something, and make sure that that's not included in the capital improvement stuff.
Right.
And that price. That's the one thing I think that we
the engineering, and then it's gonna have to be some engineering with any test wells, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
right. Yeah.
Surveying.
And that usually why that's there. So when something like this comes up, we don't have anything usually scheduled throughout the year for engineering. That's there for when we need to have
Tom
like that.
Cambereri.
That's how we paid for Tom to do his study.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stuff like that. So that's usually got a little bit of a.
Well, if that's the
leftover,
case,
or if some-
I'm comfortable keeping it 50. I just want to make sure we have enough money available in case we proceed with this, to do some site design.
and
Wouldn't
if
be
we
that
find
much in
we're
the
getting-
first year though, Scott, would it?
Yeah, this is just an estimate too, and then they know that if something happens and we go over, if we come back
Okay.
next year and say, hey,
Keep
we
it-
found this
keep
out,
it as
that's
is.
not a problem.
I withdraw my suggestion.
Okay,
And
Can
I
we-
will just let you guys know too, up when we go up to labor's salaries, I did do all the evaluations and everybody met or exceeded this year. So everybody got great reviews,
all right,
including me.
yes.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just ask, schedule wise, I got myself in a little bit of a bind here with schedule today. I budgeted 2 hours for the meeting and I'm obviously underestimating and I don't want to miss a vote here. I'm actually expecting a ride pretty soon. Any
Okay.
sense of what else we need to vote on?
Do we need to do the labor and salaries tonight?
Yeah, I was gonna say that we've done a lot tonight. If we
Yeah.
could push this off to February, I'd rather do it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We're
think we
fresh.
can do that. You know, that the Prudential Committee, when I meet with them next week, I'll just tell them, you know, it's gonna be above what it is this year. Right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be cost of livings and our people are doing outstanding jobs. So there's gonna be some step raises
And
associated,
remind them that we're making money, Tom.
and we're making money. So, yes. Okay. Yeah, so do we need any kind of motion on this at this point?
Not
I
at this.
think just that we're gonna
No.
continue it finish it next month.
Yeah. Yeah, is that okay with you, Jen?
Yep.
I move that we continue the discussion till next meeting, next month.
So
I think
Good
this gives me
bones.
money to bring to them and have some discussions and hear their thoughts to bring back to you guys. Right?
Okay.
'Cause I'm sure the chair of fire and Prudential will also have, some discussion about cost of living increase or what they're proposing for their budgets as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Okay. All right, well, leak adjustment
So
request.
the leak adjustment is really just a heads up that it's going to be coming down the line in April. As you know, we just did all of the meter readings and this gentleman had really high usage for this property. I called and talked with him. He immediately got on the phone with his irrigation company, was going to have them go out and turn the system back on to check for leaks,
Mhm.
which they told him, no, they weren't going to do that. They would do
Good
that in
thing.
April. So I put it in as what we call an NPEN. I suspended the penalty in the system because I know this won't be resolved before the 45 days that the bill is due. He immediately jumped on it. He sent me his communication. Just know that in April, this adjustment specifically is going to come before the board for review. You've got the information now, so you kind of have a heads up of what's going on and what the adjustment would look like. I also had, and I know I sent out to you earlier this week, the woman who we granted relief for in August of 2020, pending documentation, did send in that documentation finally. So I will be applying that adjustment this month. And she did send payment for the remainder of the bill.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Set next board meeting. How are you looking for second Wednesday of the month, third Wednesday? whatever?
Yeah.
Third Wednesday would be the 16th.
That looks good to me.
yeah.
Let me, February, let's see.
That's school vacation week, Tom?
That's what I'm looking at. I
Yeah.
think school vacation is going to be the 21st through the 25th.
Okay.
So the 16th it's a full moon. Other than that, it's okay with me.
I move we adjourn and meet again the 15th,
16th,
16th, sorry.
16th, okay
16th.
with you?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yep. Mark, good.
All right.
Chris? Yeah,
Yes.
everybody's
Everything's
good?
good.
All right, it's been moved and possibly seconded that we adjourn for tonight and that we establish our meeting prior to adjourning for the next Board of Water Commissioners for February 16th, 2022 at 5:30. Does that still work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nods?
Yes.
Seconded?
Good. Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. A lot of work done tonight.
All right, guys.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
Good
thank
night,
you.
everyone.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Take care.